Hey, I'm Stephanie, and in today's video we will be creating this makeup look, which I am calling Momentum Makeup. And the reason for that is because this makeup is done in stages, and you could theoretically stop at any one of those stages and you could leave the house feeling great. The reason that I started doing my makeup like this is because I've been really low energy lately, but also if you don't always have a lot of time, this is the sort of thing that you could do. You can adjust it to however much time you have that day. But I have just found when I am low energy or I'm feeling under the weather, one of the things that makes me feel better is makeup. It's because it's, one of the things that brings joy to my life in general. But sometimes just looking like I'm feeling better makes me feel better inside. And so what I have found is that sometimes I will start my day and I'll think, you know what, I'm just going to put on a little bit of base makeup on to cover up my dark circles and to even out my skin tone. And I'll get that far and all of a sudden I'll want to take another step and then another step. And it's like each step does increase the momentum, thus the name. So let's see what it's like. This is the first time that I have sat down to film in months. I haven't been feeling well, so I might be a little bit out of the loop today. If I seem low energy or a little bit out of it, I promise I'm actually in a great mood. I've been looking forward to filming again. I just haven't been around because I've been under the weather, and figuring out exactly what's going on and getting healthy again has basically been my full-time job these past couple of months. I'm not all the way there yet, but I am genuinely happy to be back at it and hanging out with you. You might get this low effort, lo-fi version of me for a little while, and I hope that's okay. Now, let's get into the makeup. The theme today is low effort, which coming from me and makeup seems a little weird because normally I wear a ton of makeup and I drag the process out as long as I can with as many steps as I can because it's my moment of zen every day. Lately, I haven't had the energy for makeup every day, and when I do, I haven't had energy for the full routine. But this is the makeup that I have been reaching for on the days that I did have the energy and I wanted to put a little bit of effort into how I looked. So let's get into it. Let's start with skin prep. I'm not really using primers right now. I'm pretty much just using my skincare. I put this on every morning. It's DNA repair enzymes from Photozyme MD. I use the Youth Recovery Facial Serum, but they have several other products with the enzymes in them. And the reason that I want to make sure that I wear this every day is because one of the things I've been doing to try to get healthy is stay cool because it has been unbelievably hot here. So I've been staying outside in the shade, but I've been trying to keep cool in breezy places. But even in the shade, you get sun. And so DNA repair enzymes are preventative skincare. I think just as important as sunscreen. I mean, if you can only do one, do sunscreen. But if you can do two, I would do the DNA repair enzymes and then the sunscreen over it. So I usually just let that soak in for a couple of minutes.
A few moments later.
I am going to put my sunscreen on. The one I've been using is the Paula's Choice Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense. And I chose this because it is mineral sunscreen. I've noticed that with perimenopause, my inflammatory level has just like shot up, and I don't know what I'm sensitive to. I don't know if it's just internal stuff that my rosacea reacts to, but I'm trying to like cut down on the stuff that goes on my face. I think it's kind of working. I'm not as red as I have been in the past, but basically I want to make sure that I put this on everywhere and get a nice solid layer of sunscreen on. And it goes on pretty light, but I find that if I really rub it in, then the white cast kind of fades a little bit at least. I'll try to just putting it on one half of my face so we can see. But I mean, the white cast stays. It's not like it goes away completely, but it's not as bad as this. Now it's actually cooler. Like if I go outside, it's cooler. If I open the windows, like a cool breeze will come in, but it's just like the house has already heated up. The buildings and the stone have already heated up. So no matter what I do, it's always hot in here. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to turn on this fan. It's pretty quiet, so I hope it doesn't bother you, but it's gonna save me from sweating all the makeup off before I even get it on. And I'm definitely going outside today because I need to get out of this broiling hot house. So I need to make sure the sunscreen's on. Okay, now it is all rubbed in. As you saw, it took a while, but I do feel like the white cast, like even though it's there, it's not quite as bad. I find that when I'm pale, I don't really see it, but because I have a tan now, you do see the white cast. So it is still there. But we are going to be putting something over it today, so it's not a big deal.
12 seconds later.
I let that soak in for a minute, and now we're going to start with the face. And the first thing I've been doing is, normally if I'm doing a full face of makeup, I'll use a color corrector and then a concealer, because that's usually what'll cover up my dark circles. But surprisingly enough, they're not all that dark today. Some mornings I wake up and it literally looks like I punched myself in the face in my sleep or something, but today it's not as bad as it can be. To make a long story short, on these days where I'm not doing much, I'm just using this color corrector. It's called the DRMTLGY Luminous Corrector with SPF 41. And the reason I'm just using this is because, number one, it's just one step and I can't be bothered with more right now. And number two, it's because it's got SPF in it. And I really want to be layering SPF if I'm going to be outside all day. And I think that's, for example, like this on its own is good enough because I'm putting on a really thick layer of it. But if I'm putting on makeup with SPF in it, like I am today, for example, this under eye corrector and then this skin tint, both of these have sunscreen in them, but the amount that I put on isn't going to be enough to offer me a whole lot of protection. So this is kind of just like an added layer for me, especially because this actually has a higher SPF than the Paula's Choice sunscreen, because this is only SPF 30. So I don't know, my under eyes, I'm trying to save them from getting too crepey too quickly. So I've just been doing this. And normally I take like a lot more care with the way I'm applying my concealer and things. But like I said, when I'm not feeling well and I don't have a lot of energy, then simpler is better. So this is what I've been doing. Just kind of going in, and I actually take this all the way down because it's also a little bit lighter and I feel like it almost gives like a highlighting effect along the side of my nose. It lets me slim it down a little bit. Who needs plastic surgery when you have makeup? I find that this actually wears pretty well. Like, I haven't been all that concerned with like the way my makeup wears lately because I haven't been doing anything high stakes where it really needs a ton of staying power. But I do find that this is okay if I set it. If I don't set it, it will crease a little bit, and I can just kind of press the creases out every once in a while throughout the day. But it's not dramatic. It's not, you know, getting into the creases in a way that looks really wrong or really weird. But I feel like that's kind of normal for my eye shape and my skin texture. Like, anything that I put on is going to crease somewhat unless I set it with a powder. And I'm okay with that. I don't know. I'm really low maintenance lately. Although it's funny because if you tuned into this video to watch like purposefully low effort makeup, like you're going to be like, this is a lot of steps for low effort makeup. It's low effort for me. I think it's all in the context in which you do makeup. If you're normally, you know, deliberately trying to have 100 steps in your makeup routine because you like it so much, then this seems like not much at all. But I just like to, you know, take it where my darkness is, and then I take it down here, and then as you saw, I kind of patted any residual stuff along the top of my nose there just to kind of give that a little highlight too, so that the sides of my nose go into shadow a little bit. I haven't been doing any contouring lately, so this is like the extent of my contouring. And then I take this Erborian CC Red Correct. And this is one of those products here. I'm just going to put it on my palette. I always use like one of these stainless steel palettes, and I just wash it with like an alcohol pad before I start to make sure it's all clean. And I just put like a little bit on there. I might put a little bit more on. Sometimes I use a little bit less, just kind of depends. I'm not really putting all that much consideration into the amount, but what I'll do is I'll just dip I have this Sephora foundation brush. It's like not their professional one, so it has like a shorter, what do you call this part? Brain fog, I don't know. This part, the handle of the brush is shorter on the Sephora brushes that aren't in the Pro line, but I feel like for the most part, I'm gripping them up pretty far anyway, so I don't necessarily need the Pro version. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of pat this in. This is the kind of skin tint that's like green when you first put it on, but the more you press it in, it becomes kind of more skin colored as you go. I do find that it's a bit pale for me right now, but it was a couple of years ago when I decided I don't want to be buying like a summer foundation and a winter foundation anymore. All I want to do is buy my winter shade and then adjust it. And so we're going to get into how I do that with this particular product later. If this were like a foundation, I would be mixing. I use this bronzer. It's the Makeup by Mario liquid bronzer. Like I would just mix it directly into the foundation to create the color that I want. But because this does have some sunscreen in it, I don't really want to dilute it. So I'm just putting it on my face as it is first. And as you can see, like it's a little bit pale. It's not horribly pale. But when I have a tan, it is a little bit light, but we're just going to fix it with bronzer. I need to add more, so that little dollop wasn't enough. I've really been liking this. I like the finish of it. I feel like it's dewy, but I can still wear it even though I have oily combination skin, because I don't mind having a dewy look right now. I think if I were really thinking about finish, I'd probably want like a more satiny finish, but I honestly think this looks just really nice and really hydrated. And it doesn't look oily once everything's on. But I do think that if you're really, really oily, like I just get oily in my T-zone and then the rest of my face is pretty normal. So I feel like I can pull this off. But if you're really, really oily, it might be a little bit too dewy for you. And then honestly, I usually am wearing a hat when I'm outside, so I'm not all that concerned with my forehead. But I'm gonna put some on here anyway. I mean, I always put the sunscreen on my forehead too, but for the most part, it's really covered up. So I'm not all that worried about it. And usually I find, because I'm not using any primers or nose primers or anything, I do have to go kind of like tap it into my nose afterwards. And I think it's just because I have that sunscreen on and no other like stickier base. And my nose, its superpower is rejecting foundation. So I find that it actually stays nicely, but I do have to pat it in because otherwise it's kind of like textured looking from the brush. So that's the basic complexion. Now we're going to darken it up a bit. This I just really like using. I have the, what is it called? It is the Soft Sculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum by Makeup by Mario. It's just a liquid bronzer. I am using shade Light. And what I like about this is I can use it as a mixer, but I can also just use it as a straight up bronzer. I just use one pump. And then I'm going in with a synthetic brush. This is the Bobbi Brown Full Coverage Face. So it's a foundation brush, but I very consistently use it for things like bronzer and blush. So, and I just kind of try to put this anywhere the sun would hit me, and then I just use the lighter foundation as a highlight almost. And I usually just kind of go down the sides of my nose as well. I like to put some of the bronzer here because I have like a very heavy brow bone. So I just kind of, number one, it sticks out, so it does get a lot of sun. So I feel like it looks natural when I put bronzer there. But also it kind of makes it recede a little bit, so it's not quite as prominent. It's a subtle look. That's what I like about this bronzer, is it's incredibly subtle. It's not making me look like this color on me is just very natural. So bronzer, no bronzer. And I think I'm gonna put some more on here. So 1 second pump. I missed a spot up there near my hairline, but you know what? I have not been picky lately. Number one, I'm wearing a hat. And number two, if anybody's looking that closely at me and judging me, I let them have some fun doing their judging. People who like doing that. Gotta give them something to talk about, right? And I'll put like a little bit down here to like hide my little flib flab. I'm not sure if it actually does anything or just looks funny, but it's nothing like the beard I was once given. This makeup artist, I don't know, I was doing a television gig and this makeup artist was like, oh, we need to contour your face. And he's like, you have a huge chin, so we need to contour your chin. And I was like, is it really that big? And he's just like, yeah, your chin is huge. And I was like, he gave me like a complex about my chin. But he basically like contoured my chin by just like putting brown stuff on it. And he's like, it'll look fine on television. I watched the recording after the fact. It looked like I had a beard. That was the point where I was like, I need to learn how to do my own makeup because this cannot happen again. And then on days where I'm just like feeling like my energy is being sapped and I feel like this is it, then what I will do is I will just do my brows and then call it a day. And then, you know, clean up the lip line a little bit like this, and then, you know, that'll be it. So I'll just do my brows. I'm using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Taupe. Everything will be listed below in case you're wondering what I'm using. But for the most part, I think these are all the sorts of products that we already have. So I just like to put a reference in there in case somebody's looking for a specific color. It makes it easier for them to find. But yeah, I've just been like, I don't know, I'm not even sure I'm doing that great of a job of shaping my brows, but I feel like it makes me look a little bit more awake, even if I'm not feeling awake, if I have eyebrows. And I think part of that's just because my hair is so light that it helps to have like a little bit of definition in there. And there are some days where this is it, and this is how I leave the house, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And then if I want to take it another step, then I will put on something on my lips, because sometimes I feel like they look a little bit, I don't know, off, because my skin is so dewy and so glowy and so healthy. And so then I'll go in with this lipstick. This is, I've had this forever. This is the Rose Perfecto from Givenchy. And I just feel like it doesn't really change the color of my lips all that much, but it adjusts the finish so that it matches my skin a little bit more. I don't know if you can tell a difference, but I can. And that's what matters when we're doing our makeup. You know, the way we feel, I think, is the most important thing. Now, I have been doing more on some days, and so we're going to take it up to the next level. So, you know, on a really simple day, this is what I'll wear. But if I have a little bit more energy and I want to add a little bit more color, then I've been taking this MAC Glow Play blush, and it's called Pinch of Marrakech. That's the color. And it's this kind of ruddy, I don't know, warm, almost red, but kind of terracotta color. And I just feel like this is great for adding a little bit of that sunburned summeriness that I like. So I've been putting that like towards the outside of my face here. I don't like to go too close to the center of my face because my rosacea tends to live here. And so I feel like that kind of is red enough on its own. But I've been almost like putting it where I put the bronzer, because I want my bronze to look just a little bit sunburnt. And I feel like this isn't too bright. Like some reds can be too bright and they almost look like a very intense pink. This one stays kind of reddish. And so I think it's almost like my perfect sunburn blush. So with sunburn, with a healthy sunburn, without a healthy sunburn. I don't know why I think sunburns look nice sometimes. Oh, I put a lot on there. Ooh. The good thing is this blends out really easily. It's like a super easy blush to use, because there are some days where I'll go overboard and be like, uh-oh, and then I can just kind of fix it by not going back into the pan. Or, worst case scenario, I'll just take the foundation brush that I used and just tap it on over the top. But when you look at like how intense this color is for someone with light skin, I feel like it's really easy to use. Yeah, I feel like I got most of that all blended in without a problem. Of course, one can always take it to the next level, and I find that an easy way to do that is with mascara, because it defines the eyes. So I am going to go in with mascara. This is like a step-by-step, like how to make your makeup gradually more complicated depending on how much effort you want to put in. I got this Dior mascara for Christmas from my mom because she knows that I'm not willing to pay a lot of money for mascara because there's so many good mascaras at the drugstore. But my one frustration is I feel like there's not a lot of good brown mascaras at the drugstore. And I really want a good brown. And this Dior, what is this called? Diorshow mascara in the color brown. I feel like it's nice because it's not quite as intense as a black would be, and I really enjoy it. That's the thing that I think is valuable. There are great products at the drugstore. I mean, I used the brow product today. I'm going to be using another one later. You know, there's great things at the drugstore. My problem is because I have muted coloring, it's oftentimes harder for me specifically to find, oh, just let's compare first. So the one layer, one coat of the Diorshow mascara, with and without. But what I find is that it's harder to find really nice muted colors at the drugstore. There are some, definitely, but they're just kind of harder to find. And this mascara is like a perfect example. It's like my version of black. Like I think what black looks like on a lot of people, that's what this looks like on me. It's just not quite as intense. It's a little bit more natural looking. And it's just a little bit easier for me to wear, especially on days where I'm not wearing a lot of makeup. I feel like this less intense version just kind of blends in a little bit more naturally. So I'm very happy that my mom decided to give me this for Christmas. Thanks, Mom. It was a great choice. I've really been liking it. I opened it in March, and normally I only keep mascaras for 3 months, but this one says that it's good for 6 months as of opening, so I'm gonna use it till September. Yeah! I am going to get like a little Q-tip thing to wipe off the mascara that got on my lid, and then I'll be back. This feels pretty finished to me, which is shocking because there is no eyeshadow in this look, and I am an eyeshadow girly. But have no fear, we will be putting on eyeshadow in a minute. But if I'm just kind of, you know, getting ready for the day and low energy, this is what I've been doing. If, however, I want more staying power, then I will go to powders because powders are going to set everything. So let me get this powder. You should see the chaos here on my desk. It's pretty bad because I don't normally do my makeup here. I normally do it at my vanity. Okay, I am using the Huda Beauty powder. I have the shade Pound Cake. And I just tap a little bit into the cap. And when it comes to my under eyes, I like to use this little powder brush from Sonia G. It's the Detail Pro. And I just kind of dab it in there. And then I tap it out. And then I'm going to tap out any potential creasing. From the mirror that I have here, I can't see if it's creased or not, but I'm just going to do it just in case. And then I kind of gently tap it in. And the reason that I'm using this one instead of my favorite Givenchy is not just because the Givenchy has been discontinued, but it's also because in the summer when it's this hot and I'm like this sweaty all the time, I do find that I need a little bit more staying power than the Givenchy gives me. I think the finish of it is great, but when I get really sweaty, I need to take it up a notch, and this does it. If I was to be going on stage and I wanted my makeup to stay put in weather like this, I would take it up even a further notch and use the one size powder that I have. But for everyday wear, I feel like the Huda gives me that nice blurring effect under the eyes. I feel like you can't see quite as much of my hollows anymore. But it also gives me like nice staying power without looking cakey. Then, let's see, do I have a bigger powder brush here? Yes. I'm just going to go in with this IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Radiance Wand, which was decluttered to me. If it's a radiance wand, is it supposed to be for highlighter? I'm going to use it for setting power. Setting powder. And I just kind of go along the center of my face because I don't, although, you know what? We're going to do the whole face because, like, on a day where I wanted my makeup to have more staying power, I would just do this if I didn't want to go all the way. But when I'm feeling a little bit more up to it, I do like to add powder bronzer and blush because I feel like it just helps with the staying power. But once again, you could just stop here. Like, I feel like at any point in this routine, you could just stop and call it a day. But we're going to use some bronzer, and what better way to bring joy into my day than use my favorite Gucci bronzer. Oh, this stuff's so good. I'm using shade 2 today. And we're going to go in with this Bobbi Brown bronzer brush. And we're going to hope that it doesn't shed on me today. Sometimes it does that. And I find that shade 2 of Gucci is like better for me in the summer. I use shade 1 in the winter. It's almost like a bronzer for me. But the shade 2 also has a little bit of that sunburn factor for me. It's like a burn that's turned into a tan. Oh, there we go. The brush is shedding on me. I think this one needs to go because that's all it does is shed. Ever since I got it years ago. I mean, I probably had this for 10 years now, and it shed on me from day one, and yet I put up with it for some reason. I don't know why. Once again, I could stop here, but I won't. Because if we're going to take it up a notch, then we might as well use some blush, and we're going to go for a really intense one. This looks much more intense in the pan than it does on the face. This is Nars Exhibit A. I have the original formula here, but they do still make this color in their new formula. And I like to pat it out, then I do like a brush on my hand, so you can see it kind of came off a little bit, and that's when I go onto my face. And then I feel like it doesn't give me too much of that pink, it just kind of blends in. Gives me that like brightening. So one dab, then one dab, and then a light brushing on the skin. And I'm using a synthetic brush here for this. I'm just going to put a little bit in here as well. And you know what? I think I'm going to go back in with the bronzer because now you could stop here, but I want to put eyeshadow on because I'm having a higher energy day and I want to do more. And at this point, like I'm starting to look like I'm actually, you know, wearing makeup. And so I want to do more. So I'm going to go in with an eyeshadow brush. This is the Serum S33 brush. And I am just going to put this in my crease. Just to kind of push it back a little bit. When you have hooded eyes, you have to work with the real estate you have when you like eyeshadow. Like, there are these people with these big, beautiful eyes. They have so much lid real estate to play with. And I'm always jealous of that. And it's not because I think that their eyes are prettier than hooded eyes, because I don't. I think hooded eyes are gorgeous too. It's just that when you like eyeshadow as much as I do, you want to be able to like show it off and play with it. And a lot of times you can't because you just like you don't see my eyelids if my eyes are open. So there's just less room to play with it. So I could stop there, but I won't because I'm gonna go in with this Dior eyeshadow. It's the Mono Couleur Couture in shade 658 Beige Mitza. And this has long been a favorite of mine. And we're going to go in with this Serum W23 brush. And I'm not even going to put any primer on. I'm just going to make sure that I don't have too many oils on my skin. But I just find that even though my eyes don't necessarily, like my eyes need primer, but I just can't be bothered right about now, and I don't really mind if it creases and fades a little bit because, like I said, I'm not doing any high stakes anything. If my eyeshadow creases, then it creases. But also it's because the primer that always used to work for me, the Urban Decay like normal eye primer, it like doesn't work anymore, and I don't know why. And so I need to find a new eye primer, and I think that's another reason I haven't been wearing eye primer, because I'm like frustrated when I put that on and it doesn't work anymore. Like, did they change the formula? Is anyone else having this problem? I think in another video, people commented that they're having issues with it too. But I feel like it just doesn't work anymore. And that was the only one that ever worked for me. So now I need to find a new one. But I just don't have the energy to find a new one right now. So I figure, why use a primer at all? This, to me, also a finished look. But if I want to look like really put together, then I feel like eyeliner is what does it. And it depends on the mood I'm in. If I want to be having like a more natural look, even though I look made up now, because I mean, I definitely have like blush and bronzer on and everything. But if I want to make this a more natural look, I would go for a brown eyeliner. And this is the NYX Professional Makeup Epic Ink Liner in the shade Graham Cracker. I feel like this is a really natural shade on me. It doesn't define my eyes too much. Like I think they make another shade called Milk Chocolate, and I think that shade would define my eyes more and look a little bit more dramatic. This is just like a more natural look where it defines my eyes, but it doesn't draw a lot of attention to the liner itself. Or if I want to look like I'm wearing makeup and I want you to notice, then I would use this. This color I feel like is perfect for my coloring. I feel like blue is a little bit tricky for me because I lean warm. And so if a blue is too cool, then it can look a little bit odd on me. But I find if there's like just enough green in the blue, like so it leans a little bit more turquoise, then it like warms it up enough that it works with my skin tone. And this color does that for me. This is called Tapered Twinkle is the shade. It's also the Epic Ink Liner from NYX, but it's the glitz version. So it has a little bit of sparkle in it. And I actually like that in a liner because I feel like it adds a little bit of interest through the lashes. So the question is, I wish this was live so we could like vote on it. Do I want to do a natural look? See, I'm looking in the mirror. What do I feel? I mean, I could do one in one, but I am leaving the house. So maybe I'll just do one. We're going to go with color today because I do neutral looks a lot here on this channel, and this is still a neutral look, I realize that. But at least you're going to have a pop of color. And this pop of color has made me so happy. It feels so summery to me. It's funny because I think blue, a lot of people think like winter, like there's that Polar Express palette, and that's like a winter palette, but for some reason, I don't know, this makes me think of like pools or like going swimming in the Caribbean where there's really great blue turquoise waters and stuff. So I just go in and do a pretty small wing. And I just make sure I get right to that lash line. I usually like start it where my iris starts and then go over. Although I feel like it might be nice just to add like the thinnest bit of color. Yeah. So I got the line as thin as I possibly could on the inside, and then I started thickening it up as of my iris, and then it gets thickest on that outer corner there. So I'll just do the same thing on this eye. And I'm gonna look down for a little bit, not at the camera, just so I can let that set and dry a little bit, because if I open my eyes when it's wet, it's going to imprint onto the top of my hooded lid there. So I am talking to you, even though I'm not looking at you right now. But basically, I feel like when I do a look like this, and it's mostly natural, but there's like, you know, there's a little bit of blush to the cheeks, there's that blue line, it's like a somewhat natural way to still play with color. It's a way that's very much in my comfort zone because if you've been watching me for a while, you know I'm a beige babe, but it's summertime, it's color time. I feel like this is like a really nice colorful look. Take the bangs down. I don't mind having a little bit crazy beachy hair because after all it is summer, but there we go. With a lot of things in life, I think sometimes there's like a hurdle to doing things even if you want to do them sometimes, and when you're low energy or you're not feeling yourself like I have been lately, sometimes like just getting started gets me more in the mood to keep going. So like this process today where I was just like, and I could end it here or we could go on. I feel like what would happen is I would be feeling kind of rotten, but I'd be like, you know, I want to put that extra layer of sunscreen on, so I would put that on, you know, with these products, and then I'd be like, well, that was kind of fun. Maybe I'll just add some eyebrows so that there's more definition. And I'd be like, oh, let's even out the lips so that the finishes all match. Oh, let's put on the bronzer. Let's put on the blush. You know, it's like every individual step kind of led to the next one. And it was kind of nice to get me feeling better because sometimes it's weird. You know, we think, oh, if I feel tired or if I feel sick, then like that's the way I feel. But you can change it through outward things. At least I've been able to. It's not magic by any means, but I do feel like taking the time to put some effort into something I like doing anyway, my makeup, has really helped me to feel better. I redid my hair because it was a little bit too beachy for me, but now the look is done. Feel free to leave any questions or thoughts in the comments. I always read everything and I love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching, and thank you to all of my channel members and patrons, including my Adagio angels, for making content like this possible. I hope that we can all remember that even stumbling is a form of moving forward. So let's stumble in style.